Hello everyone, welcome back. Happy Easter. I hope that you all had a wonderful time with your friends and family. Glad to be back with you. Today is tea and I'm having some hot tea. It's cold enough outside and I'd like to show you a few things and talk with you about some things. On Easter idea or things, again, being resourceful with things you have around the house. A while ago, I purchased at a yard sale, it's actually just a resin cast, inexpensive, nothing, probably came from Tuesday morning. It looks like a Greek urn, and it was really ugly antique white, and somebody had sprayed it with antique gold, and it looked like sprayed gold. It was really disgusting. And so I decided I got it for an exhibition over at the church across the street and haven't been able to use it yet. I was going to use it for Easter, and I was looking at it and decided to see if I could make the sprayed gold look a little bit more convincing, and it's pretty good, and I'll show you how to do it. So here's something you can do yourself, which is a lot of fun. I'll put my tea down here. So I'm going to tilt this forward and a little sideways. There's the vase, and I'm sorry about the lighting. I'm going to adjust it a bit. There we go. That's the vase. And let me just adjust the light here. Take a second. There we go. Now you can see it. It looks really nice when it's up close. In the room it looks great. And how I did this really ugly sprayed gold color, it's just like spray you buy at Lowe's. I didn't, it was already done. I discovered I have this is the old, the label just fell off, it's so full of greasy. It's Old English polish, and my grandmother used to use this to polish her furniture, and it's really wonderful. You can get it at most hardware stores. I know in Arlington you can get it at Ayers. I think you can get it probably at Lowe's. But it's just Old English. It's a very standard. It's a nice oil, and it restores damaged wood. Well, I put it on the texture of the along here on the. Let's do it again here. The texture in here and around, and it gave a nice kind of shadow, and it took away the kind of brassy, awful look. So that's something that you can do yourself, and I find having real plants is sort of a nice thing this time, right now with all of our situations. So that's that, and I'm going to put this down so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to talk about sculpture and paintings today. This isn't a painting, but I'll share it with you. This, I'll take it down another day and show it to you better, but it's after a painting of Boucher of a little boy from the Louvre, and it's the first needlepoint that Twyla, my wife, ever did. She was after college, she was in Europe for a year and did this wherever she went. She picked probably one of the most difficult patterns you could have. It's the face is petit point. She finally finished it just not too many years before she really got sick and couldn't do any of that anymore. So I'm very thankful to have that, and I'll show that to you more later. Above, the straight ahead is a painting by an artist. He's one of the California school artists that painted in the 20s to preserve the natural landscape. And when I was in college in Montecito, near Santa Barbara, there was an estate, I believe it was the Hormel estate, they were having an estate sale, a garage sale, and there were two of these paintings, this one and another one, and I wanted both, but I couldn't afford it, and this one was $15 and the other was $25, and it turns out that he was quite an important California landscape. There's a whole book on landscape school painters from the 20s. Anyway, so, hey Joe, nice to see you. So, how do you look at a painting? We've talked about this before. We talked about icons the other night. And Western painting, the perspective is like what you see here. The perspective is in the sky with the clouds. You look into the painting through the landscape to what's behind, to the mountains. With an icon, as I told you the other night, or the other day and night on Easter, the icons look at you, and it's the gaze. And for any of you that are interested, there's a really interesting link about I've been doing the whole kind of a study on faces and hands and feet and the body, just the importance of the body, and I've been discussing it with artist Ed Nippers. There's an interview which is posted, and I will be posting it on my Limb-Feather Hall site for all of you. I was going to interview him myself, but couldn't do it because of the virus. He talks about the painting he finished for Holy Saturday. It's just really amazing. It's Christ going down into hell and rescuing the souls. It's just an amazing painting, and the interview is quite wonderful, and I will be posting it on my YouTube channel very soon. In any case, this is an impressionist. They were California impressionist painters. This is a fairly simple impressionist, not quite as abstract. The artist actually lived on the estate, and the estate was down the street from my school. And one of the great things we would do is go estate hopping at night, and dress up in black clothes and sneak in to see what the gardens were like. Not to be destructive, just to see what it was like. And there was one on top of the hill. I wish I had photos of it. It was a tea garden on the top, and I should do it for this program. It's a tea garden. It was on top of a mountain. It was on the top of, let me try to do it. Sorry. That is right up about there, where that mountain, right up in there, where the peak is. And at the top of the mountain was literally, it looked like a ruined Roman arch with a formal garden with plants and benches. And then from there down, there were cascading waterfalls and water. It was all mechanical water that would pour down the hill, and there were like tiny streams, and then it would be like a waterfall, and then there was a huge Grecian reflecting pool. It's just really amazing. And the lady that built it was quite old. Hi, Julia. The lady who built it was quite old. She was still alive when I was at school in Santa Barbara and Montecito, and she lived in a hotel downtown, and she would, her driver would take her up to the tea garden every afternoon to have tea. That was really a lot of fun. So, sorry to get off on that story. I just want to show you another thing that has to do with Easter. This is an Italian wood carving. I know not a lot about it, but I know that it's from, it was from a very important collection, and it had a number. This is number 2, so it was the 4 apostles. And I think, this is John. If you come across any kind of sculpture, if there's any label, this has lots of wormholes, as you can see. It's Renaissance, I'm pretty sure. And here's the label from the collection. And it's just looks like E Sun XE. So SCU 55, don't know, anyway. But I just wanted to share that with you. It's beautiful wood. I think it's pear wood, actually. That's what it looks like. So this was being thrown out on the street. And just happened to see it when we were driving by. It was trash night. Now you know my secret. this is Russian. This is one of the finest examples I've ever seen of a Russian enamel egg. I hope you can see it all right. It's a little fuzzy. My reception isn't so good today. But this is gold leaf, and then it's lacquered, and it's a lacquered egg. And Twyla and I got this when we went to Russia in 1991, right after the fall of the Soviet Union. And this woman who made these, this is the back, it's a wooden egg, and then it's lacquered. It's a little bit like decoupage. In any case, it's a famous image of Michael the Archangel. And this particular one, she only made about 4 or 5 a year. And I bought this one. This was one of the most elaborate. And then there's a smaller one that a friend bought and gave to me a few years ago of the Mary, the Mother of God. And it's equally beautiful. I'll bring it and show it another time. Anyway, that's enough for Easter. So these are just some things that are hanging out on my living room cabinet. This is silver and brass, silver plate brass, and it is a arts and crafts photo frame. I believe it's English. I'm not sure where the old photo in it looks like someone who's Portuguese or Spanish, but this is definitely arts and crafts, and reminds me of William Morris. And then or maybe a little bit before, and then you open it up, and it has the original key. And the photo that is originally in there I kept, but it's designed to protect the photo. And my girls put this picture of Twyla, one of the wonderful photos I have of my wife. We were visiting David Aikman's house, and I love it because this photo will never deteriorate, and it's just like my best kept secret, and I can lock my heart up again. So if you ever see anything like this, it's worth getting. Going along with Easter, I want to show you this. This is an 18th century tapestry, and it has a base. The stem is ivory and the base is porcelain. And as you can see, the thing holding up the shield is a cross. And this was a wedding present from my dear friend Greg Mitchell, who was a dancer in New York. And this is all petit point with beads, silver beads, and all kinds of things. And what it was is a lady's fire screen that you would put this on a table. You put this on a table, like if the fire were where that light bulb is, you would do it like this, and it would shield ladies' makeup from melting, because in those days they wore wax makeup and it would melt if it got too much heat. So that's why this is what it is. Hey Robert, nice to have you on. So that's the story, though. The reason he gave this to me is just so wonderful for Twyla and I don't know if many of you have ever read Corrie ten Boom's stories about her experience in the concentration camps. She was a Dutch. She was in Holland, and her family perished, except some of her family perished in the Holocaust. She wrote a book she talked a lot about forgiving her enemies, and I met her and actually knew her when I was at Fellowship House in Washington, D.C. She would come and visit. One night, she and her companion came, and in fact, Ellen Stamps, her companion, lives now in Richmond. I'm just reconnected with her. And when they were staying there, all of a sudden we heard this screaming, and there was a guy staying across the hall in the other room, and it turned out there was a bat that had gotten in their room. There's a huge woods across from Fellowship House, down behind the shore, and the bat had flown in the bedroom and was scaring them to death, which is, the story is kind of timely right at the moment. Anyway, Ken, I forget his last name, found a hazing paddle from some fraternity and went in and started swinging it and got it out. Later, when I was cleaning, there was a cornice over a door at Fellowship House in the small library, and it had a big, beautiful redwood vase, Art Deco. I was cleaning it out, and guess what was in it? A couple of dead bats. I had one come in my room one night. I just covered it over with a quilt and threw it out the window. Anyway, right now I don't like bats any more than I ever did. Now, so the reason he gave this to me, and this is a wonderful story, is art has story to tell. I think they're spiritual stories, they're human stories, they restore memories, they can restore or bring up bad memories as well as good. I don't know if any of you online are part of the Berliner Philharmonic, but I saw a Poulenc production on Oedipus, which was frightening, to say the least, but really interesting. At the end, and all of the singers were all in makeup, like Greek makeup. They looked like Greek gods. And at the end, it was about death and dying and your name, having a name. And I think it was, I don't know the history of it, but it was probably based on Poulenc's impressions of the Holocaust. So anyway, getting back to this, I'm rambling. Getting back to this fireplace screen. When Greg gave it to me, he said, when you look at this, you see this on the front. But and this is how other people see our lives when God is in it. This is how we see our lives. We cannot make heads or tails of what God's doing in our lives, and all it's showing are a lot of our loose threads and hanging chads and everything else. And so this is how we see, not how we see God working in our lives, but this is how we, at least I feel, especially right now, my life is like, I feel like in some ways it's in tatters. But this is how our loving God sees us, and the beauty that He created in us and wants to call us into. So thanks for letting me share. We'll do more on sculpture. This is a sculpture. This is a bronze sculpture. It's a limited edition, and it's lost wax processed bronze. I'll explain that a little bit more another time. This is a dance figure. Her name is Jane Hamilton, was the artist, and she did a lot of dance figures. I had several of these in the gallery and sold them, and it was so interesting. An osteopath came in one day, and a chiropractor came in, and both of them looked at this, and she said, and he said, the artist has got the anatomy, the body, the curve of the body, the musculature, the legs and everything exactly right. So it was approved, physician approved. We'll talk more about that and about three-dimensional art and how important that is and how important touch is. So with that today, I will say adieu, and I will be reading His Horse and the Boy this evening from Lewis's book, where we left off, and I will see you tomorrow. We will have some other things, probably not tomorrow because it's raining, but on Thursday I will be going across the street and detailing and showing you some of the amazing details of the Norman church that has been built out here. So any of you that would like to come out, you're welcome to come out and wave and let me know, because I'll be glad to give you a tour around the outside of the church. There are 40 acres of grounds, beautiful grounds, and an outdoor chapel and a creek. It's a great place. You can bring your dog. It's open. The outdoor chapel's open as long as there aren't a large group of people. And this is a great place to come to get out of the city and to look at each other. And also Hunter's Head, which is a restaurant right down the street. It's a pub, English pub. You can order food and get a carry-out, and you can take it and go eat it in the garden. Well, with that, I want to thank you all for coming today and look forward to seeing you again. and see you tonight if you can. And we'll have a real fire again because it's cold out here today. Thanks so much. And also, just you can check me out on my Facebook page, Wim Feather Hall, or on youtube.com, Wim Feather Hall. Thanks. God bless.